My wife, Sarah, and I used to be inseparable. We were that couple, the one everyone said was meant to be. We built a life together, brick by brick, filled with laughter, shared dreams, and this deep, unspoken understanding. But over the last year, something shifted. It was subtle at first, like a change in the wind you can't quite place. The laughter became less frequent, the shared dreams were gathering dust, and the understanding was replaced by a growing distance. Sarah started working longer hours. She was a marketing executive, and her career was taking off. I was genuinely proud of her. "It's a huge project, Mark," she'd say. Exhaustion etched on her face. "I'm just so swamped. I barely have time to breathe, let alone anything else." I believed her, wanted to be the supportive husband. So I took on more around the house, made sure dinner was ready when she stumbled through the door, and tried not to complain. When our date nights turned into her falling asleep on the sofa with her laptop still glowing, our intimacy dwindled to almost nothing. When I'd try to initiate something, she'd gently push me away. "I'm just too tired, hun," she'd murmur, already turning over to sleep. My brain is just fried from work. It hurt, but I told myself it was temporary. This was just a phase, a stressful period at her job. We just had to get through it. I'd try to plan weekend getaways, simple things to reconnect. But she'd always have a reason why she couldn't. "I have to go into the office on Saturday, or there's a big deadline. I can't possibly get away." The excuse was always the same. She was too busy. It's too busy for me, too busy for us. Yet, I started noticing strange little inconsistencies. She'd mention a new restaurant she tried, and when I asked when, she'd get flustered and say it was a quick lunch with colleagues. Her phone, which used to be left casually on the counter, was now always with her, screen down or in her purse. She started dressing up more for work, paying more attention to her hair and makeup than she had in years. I chalked it up to her high-powered job, wanting to look the part. I was trying so hard to find logical explanations because the alternative was too painful to even consider. One Friday night, she called to say she'd be working late again. "Don't wait up for me," she said, her voice sounding rushed. I felt that familiar pang of disappointment, but I just said, "Okay, be safe." I was making myself a lonely dinner when my friend Kevin called. He was at a bar across town for a friend's birthday and invited me to join. I almost said no, but the thought of sitting alone in our silent house was just too depressing. I walked into the bar and the noise hit me like a wall. I scanned the crowd for Kevin, and that's when I saw her. It was Sarah. She wasn't at the office buried in paperwork. She was sitting in a cozy booth in the corner laughing. And she wasn't alone. She was with a man I didn't recognize. He was leaning in close, his hand resting on hers on the table. Ain't the way she was looking at him, with a bright, engaged smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. It was like a punch to the gut. All the air left my lungs. She wasn't too busy. She wasn't too tired. She was just too busy and tired for me. All that time, all that energy I thought was going into her career, was actually going to him. I felt like a complete fool. Every excuse, every late night, every canceled plan flashed through my mind, but this time they were tainted with the truth. I just stood there, frozen in the doorway, watching my marriage crumble right in front of my eyes. Kevin found me, saw the look on my face, and followed my gaze. His hand landed on my shoulder. "Mark." "Man, I'm so sorry I couldn't speak." I just turned and walked out, leaving the sound of her laughter behind me. The walk home was a blur. My mind was racing, trying to process the betrayal. When I got back to our apartment, the place we had built into a home, it felt alien. Every photo on the wall, every shared object, felt like a lie. I sat on the sofa in the dark, just waiting. A little after midnight, I heard her key in the lock. The door opened, and she walked in, humming a little tune. She flipped on the light and jumped when she saw me sitting there. "Mark, you scared me." "I thought you'd be asleep," she said, trying to sound casual, but I could see the flicker of panic in her eyes. "How was work?" I asked, my voice flat, devoid of any emotion. "Oh, she sighed, taking off her coat. "Exhausting. It's just another late night at the office." The ease with which she lied was the final nail in the coffin. It was so practiced, so effortless. "Stop," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "Just stop lying, Sarah." The color drained from her face. She knew. She knew I knew. "What are you talking about?" she stammered. But the act was falling apart. "I saw you, Sarah. At the bar. You weren't at the office. You were with him. I didn't shout. I didn't have the energy. I just felt this profound, hollow sadness. Silence filled the room, thick and suffocating. She sank onto a chair, her head in her hands, and finally, the truth came tumbling out. His name was David, a consultant her company had hired. It started as lunches, then drinks after work. She said she felt seen by him, that he listened to her in a way she felt I no longer did. She claimed she never meant for it to happen, that she was confused. Confused? I finally said, the anger starting to bubble up through the hurt. You weren't confused, Sarah. You were deceitful. You told me you were too busy for me, for our marriage, but you had all the time in the world for him. You made a choice every single day to lie to my face and spend your time and energy on someone else. You didn't just cheat, you erased me. The conversation went on for hours, a painful cycle of her excuses and my heartbreak. She cried, she apologized, she begged for another chance, but how could I? The trust, the very foundation of our relationship, had been systematically dismantled by her lies. It wasn't a single mistake. It was a long, calculated campaign of deception. She didn't just break my heart. She made me feel like I was the problem, like my needs were a burden while she was out living a double life. In the end, I knew what I had to do. Staying would mean accepting a version of love that was built on lies, and I deserved more than that. It was the hardest decision of my life, walking away from the woman I thought I would spend forever with. The healing process has been long and incredibly difficult. There are days when the anger and sadness are overwhelming, but there are also days when I feel a sense of clarity, a sense of freedom, learning to trust my own instincts again, to rebuild my life not on the wreckage of the past, but on a new foundation of self-respect and honesty. It's a painful lesson, but one I'll never forget. Love should never make you feel like you not enough. True partnership is about making time, not making excuses.